Welcome back to American Agenda. Border state lawmakers slamming the Biden administration for instituting a new travel ban while leaving the borders wide open. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeting, quote, Biden banned travel from South Africa because of the new COVID variant. Immigrants have recently been apprehended crossing our border illegally from South Africa. Biden is doing nothing to stop immigrants from South Africa entering illegally. Pure politics and hypocrisy.
Here to react, George P. Bush, Texas Land Commissioner and candidate for Texas Attorney General. Mr. Bush, what would be your response to this and your response to what's going on at the border?
Well, I couldn't agree more with Governor Abbott, and we need a president that would actually leverage Title 42 to basically allow for the removal of illegal immigrants from states like Texas under public health ordinance. So we're going to shut down travel from a variety of different nations that have exhibited this new variant of COVID. But yet, when it comes to our own national security affecting states like mine, the state of Texas that covers most of that border between U.S. and Mexico, we continue to have a national policy that allows for the largest surge of illegal immigration without a sensible COVID strategy, without testing, without vaccination requirements. And so if you could conceive of a larger hypocrisy, I'm yet to find it, coming from a national government. And unfortunately, it's resulted in a large surge of not only crime, but spikes of COVID in border communities like in my state.
So, George, you've seen Kamala Harris, our so-called border czar, who kind of went by the border, but they don't really talk about the border. It's kind of an issue that the Biden administration they try to avoid at all costs. What do you say to the Biden administration and their lack of involvement, their lack of providing assistance to the Border Patrol agents and to the state of Texas?
Well, based on our research, President Biden himself hasn't been to the border in 42 or however many years he's been in public service. When Kamala Harris came to El Paso, she spent more time in the air than she did on the ground and didn't visit the wall. We have an administration that has no sense of urgency when it comes to national security issues, namely the most important one, and perhaps I'm biased because I'm in Texas, but this is the largest surge that we've seen, with over 200,000 apprehensions on average and hundreds of thousands of that have gotten away. So this calendar year, that number will approach 2 million illegals that enter our country, most of whom are transiting through the Texas-Mexican border. It'd be great to have a positive attitude about this, but I don't think in the next 3 years we will have a different approach. I think the Biden administration thinks that they're building a new political loyalty group among Latinos. But Mercedes, you know better than anybody that many of the border counties that President Trump won were flipped in predominantly Hispanic areas because folks like you and me who have legal parents and came through the legal immigrant process are upset that people are cutting in line. This is an equity and a fairness issue that's a slap in the face to anybody who came here legally.
Let's talk about you running for Attorney General. I wanted to get your feel on the elections in Texas. There's some that claim they're questionable outcomes, perhaps, in Harris County, which is Houston, that general area. And I wanted to see what role you felt an Attorney General should play in that process and whether you should insert yourself if you feel like the outcomes are not appropriate.
Absolutely. The Texas Attorney General has an area of original jurisdiction to intervene directly on voting fraud and integrity in the state of Texas. One of my biggest criticisms of the current occupant is that he only has 4 prosecutors on staff with a handful of criminal investigators. We need to do much more than that. In a state of 28 million people, in my primary alone, we estimate 4 million Republicans will come out to vote. That's just not enough to cover the need. And there are several county and local officials who've demonstrated that they want to put politics over good policy in our state. Our legislature did a great job this past legislative session to tighten the screws and bring us back to where we were before COVID in terms of ballot integrity. But it comes down to execution, and that's where the Attorney General needs to step up. So whether it's Harris County, Dallas County, a variety of other counties where we've heard instances of voting fraud, the next AG needs to step forward. Right. One other thing I'll share with you is that when I was serving in Afghanistan, my ballot wasn't counted in Tarrant County. Oh. So our military ballots need to be counted as well.
All right. George P. Bush, I'm wearing burnt orange I know you'll appreciate that, but I'm also wearing it for my father-in-law who just recently passed. He graduated from there. Del Prado, born in a boxcar in South Texas, understands completely what you're talking about, the challenges of the people along the border. Thank you so much.